So let's talk about time specifically, linear time. We, as human beings, have experiences that are very similar to one another. And part of that similarity comes from our agreement to live within linear time and space. That's actually what it means to be human on Earth. There's an agreement, unspoken, collective agreement that we're going to experience time in a linear way. And the human agreements are what help us stay connected to this shared experience. Now, when we talk about linear time, what do we mean? Timeless travels, how your awareness shapes reality. The word linear refers to something that moves in a straight line, something that progresses from one point to another. So when we think about time in a linear sense, we're talking about a line that moves from the past through the present and into the future. This model helps us stay oriented, helps us stay on time, as we say. We've even created equipment and systems like calendars and clocks to define and measure these parts of the timeline. We label them as past, present, and future. It's a way to help everyone stay on the same page, so to speak. You can think of time like a train moving along a track. The train has already been somewhere, that's the past. It's here now, that's the present, and it's going somewhere. That's the future. That's the essence of linear time, a sense of progression. Something happened before now, and something will happen after. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The reference point for time is individual awareness. In other words, your personal awareness is what anchors you in time. That's what connects all of us, more or less, to experiencing time in a similar way. We're all agreeing to follow the same general passage of time, even though our individual experiences may vary. We're agreeing not to each have our own completely separate timelines. Instead, we're syncing our awareness to a shared understanding. There is a past, there's a present, and there likely will be a future. That shared awareness is what makes time feel real and structured. So in that way, time is not just a concept, it's a dimension of experience. It's how we as individuals connect our awareness to space. We live in 3 dimensions, head, width, and depth, and then time is brought in as the 4th dimension. And yes, this is where it starts to stretch the brain a bit. Because now we're starting to ask, what's outside of linear time? One way to think about linear time is to imagine it from a bird's eye view. From that higher perspective, you can see the entire timeline, past, present, and future, all at once. On Earth, we experience time as a progression, but from this broader view, it's all happening simultaneously. And that's where things start to shift. Because when you leave Earth, when you go into space, you begin to disconnect from the Earth-based reference point for time. You're no longer grounded in the same way. Out there, in the vastness of space, time becomes entirely about your awareness in the present moment. If a human being goes into space, they carry their Earth-based agreements with them. They still try to live by the same time markers, wake at 6 a.m., sleep at 9 p.m., but the reference point has changed. Time becomes about the awareness of what you're doing in this present moment. And that opens up a new way of thinking. Because if time is about awareness, then different people and different cultures can experience time very differently. Some people don't live by strict deadlines. They're not stressed about time. They just flow with it. And yes, their experience of time is different, not because the clock is different, but because the value they place on time is different. That's why some cultures are very precise. 6 o'clock IMing means exactly 6 o'clock IMing. Other cultures are more relaxed. 6 o'clock IMing is just the general time you might start thinking about starting something. So time becomes a cultural agreement too. And how a culture relates to time can reflect how it deals with uncertainty. Cultures that crave certainty tend to be more rigid with time. Cultures that are more comfortable with the unknown tend to be more fluid. And when you're more fluid with time, you're also more open to uncertainty. You're less attached to exactness and more in tune with the flow of experience. Take, for example, Aboriginal Dreamtime in Australia. That's a much more fluid experience of time. It's not about the ticking of a clock. It's about an expanded experience of the present moment. In that worldview, a moment could be a second, or it could be an hour, a week, or even longer. The present moment stretches across the entire experience. There aren't the same clear-cut divisions between past, present, and future. And that's why when we ask the question, what is time? The answer is always relative to the reference point. It's not about the clock, it's about the awareness. Time is a span of awareness. It's something that we define mechanically, yes, but also something we experience personally. Mechanically, time is linear. Experientially, it's whatever your awareness is tuned into. And that's where resonance comes in. Resonance is how energy flows and harmonizes. From a linear view, resonance is the harmonics of frequency. But resonance can also exist outside of physical reality. It's about how your awareness connects to the flow of energy. The reference point for time is always bestowed by the individual. It's an emerging point of awareness of your personal flow of energy. That flow becomes your experience of physical reality, but it's mediated by our mechanical systems, clocks, calendars, and so on. Time, then, is awareness of your motion and intention. It's how your awareness moves through the continuum from potential to form. And in that sense, all flows of energy have awareness and knowing. Time is not just about tracking hours and minutes, it's about experiencing motion, intention, and the unfolding of awareness. So when we talk about time, we're really talking about the awareness of being, of existing within space, motion, and possibility. And that's a powerful thing to understand, because once you know that, you can begin to experience time in a whole new way. Lastly, a tip to connecting outside of time and space: how to collect evidence of your connection. Doubt can creep in when connecting with your higher self. Combat this doubt by collecting evidence of your intuitive abilities. Recall times when you felt a connection and list those moments. Document instances of following intuitive guidance that led to positive outcomes. The more evidence you gather, the more confidence you'll build in your abilities. This practice rewires your subconscious beliefs about your intuition trust that the more you engage with your higher self, the clearer the guidance will become. Your journey of connection is ongoing and will evolve with time. Celebrate each small victory along the way. Thank you for being you and for being here. P.S. Look out for part 2, where we explore how these unusual time perceptions might signal a shift in consciousness, potentially linked to multidimensional experiences. Tap into how time anomalies offer both challenges and exciting opportunities for personal and collective evolution.